So Senator Skoufis brought up crises at the beginning of his speech, and I think I missed one, and that is the migrant crisis. So we hear that term tossed about a lot, migrant crisis. Now, when you're in one of the border states, border communities along the Mexican border, the crisis is everywhere. But once you go beyond the southern border, where are the migrant crises? Where is there a migrant crisis? It is exclusively in sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. That's where the migrant crisis is, beyond the southern border. So when we talk about a migrant crisis in New York State, it is a self-created crisis. It is created by the fact that we have thrown out the welcome mat and said, come here from anywhere in the world, and New York State taxpayers, New York City taxpayers are going to foot the bill indefinitely. That's the migrant crisis. Now, what does that translate into? Well, in this budget, that translates into $2.4 billion to go to New York City primarily for the self-created migrant crisis. Now, when someone comes to you and says, hey, look, I'm in a bad spot, I need some money, you kind of want to know, what are you going to change in your life to make sure that this doesn't go on forever and ever and ever, right? Did we do that? No. And by the way, that's because Governor Kathy Hochul has not taken out her pen and with a stroke of her pen undone New York State's sanctuary status, which was done by executive order by our former governor, Andrew Cuomo, in 2017. So I guess that's why you can't really criticize, New York City for their sanctuary policy when she hasn't taken the 30 seconds to undo our sanctuary policy. What's going to be done with that money? Well, we really don't know, honestly. What happened last time was they tried to spread that pain across the state by busing migrants everywhere. And what happened? Well, let's see. We had rapes and assaults in Erie County, Western New York, where I'm from. Most recently, we just saw it in Westchester. Tawny, high-dollar Westchester just had an incident with a migrant assaulting a police officer at a hotel. There's no end in sight. Not my words, the words of Mayor Eric Adams. There's no end in sight. This will break New York City. And what are we doing here today? We're going to hand another $2.4 billion for a no end in sight problem that nothing has changed to help improve. Not a single thing. I heard earlier that we would love to increase money for infrastructure like roads, but we had to hold it flat. That's the best we could do, hold it flat. Inflation is up. The cost of paving a road has gone up dramatically in the last year. We can't give them more money to pave roads that the taxpayers of New York State drive on. But we can give $2.4 billion to New York City for the self-created migrant crisis. That's okay. No more money for roads, can't be done. What else? Senator Kavanaugh, New York City Housing Authority doesn't have the money to actually upgrade the housing that 600,000 New York City residents live in. Don't have the money for it to fix it. But we do have $2.4 billion to give to New York City's self-created migrant crisis. That's where we are with this, folks. And where is it going to end? We gave $1.9 billion, not to correct my colleague on the other side of the aisle that said it was just under $800 million. It was actually $1.9 billion last year. $2.4 billion this year, and not a single thing is going to change. No alterations to the way we handle this process. We're going to continue to throw out that welcome mat to every corner of the globe and say, come to New York, and we will take care of you indefinitely. That's what's in this budget. You can't expect a different result when you haven't changed what you're doing. It's the definition of insanity, right? It's insane that we are spending this much money without asking for some kind of a modification in what's being done. And what's going to happen is it's going to come to a neighborhood near you. That's the ultimate goal here. That's what Doc Go's goal was, to send people as far away as possible in New York State and cover up what was actually happening in those areas. So folks, this has got to change, and it starts by voting no on this budget. Thank you, Mr. President.